All right, today we have some time-based questions to go over with. So we do have our formula of distance equals rate times time, which you can see over there in the green and black over here, that we'll get to in a minute. Our first question, though, you don't have to know distance equals rate times time. So our first question, I sort of wrote it out already, is, okay, so we have a flight from San Francisco, leaves at 9 a.m., going to New York, takes 6 hours. What time is it when you land in New York? Okay. So really the key here is that you know the difference in time zones, right? So you want to know kind of like the basic differences in the time zones just in the United States. You don't have to go outside of the US, right? So San Francisco to New York is a 3 hour difference in time zones. So if it was 9 a.m., just the 6 hour flight would get us, it would be 3 p.m. in San Francisco. But if you add the 3 hours to New York, then it's 6 p.m. in New York when you land. All right, that was question one. Question two. Okay, so you go 60 miles at 80 miles per hour. Okay, so these are kind of getting into like some word problem kind of things. And so your first question when you see something like that is always going to be you're getting two of the three from the formula of distance equals rate times time. Okay, and so first of all, you're thinking, okay, we got 60 miles, right? So that's going to be the distance. That's how far we're going. So that's our 60 equals, and then we're going to know they gave us one of these, but not both, right? 60 equals 80 miles per hour. When you receive miles per hour, that's a rate. That's how fast we are going, which is a rate. So that's going to be 80. And time, they didn't tell us, right? They didn't tell us anything about time. So t is just an unknown right now. Okay. 60 equals 80 divided by t. And then we want to get this 80 out of there so we can just figure out what t actually is. So divide each side by 80. And so t equals 60 divided by 80. Okay, and so we can reduce 60 divided by 80 down to 3/4. If that's not clear to you, since there's a 0 on the end of both of these, you can just get rid of those, and then it says 6 divided by 8, and 6 divided by 8 can be reduced down to 3 divided by 4, right? So you might think we're done, but we're not, right? So we got down to t equals 3/4. So what does that mean, right? Does that mean 3/4 of a minute? No, that's of course not, right? And so that means t equals 3/4 of an hour, right? And so to be able to figure out, so you might be able to eyeball that and know that 3/4 of an hour is 45 minutes. If that's not clear, that's okay. And then we just go 3/4. We'll just set up a little quick equation equals, there's 60 minutes in an hour, right? Equals some number divided by 60. Okay, and then if we just see something like this, we got to cross multiply these guys, right? And 4 times x is 4x equals, then we have 60 times 3, that's 180. Yeah, divide each side by 4. Okay, and then 180 divided by 4 will give us our answer. X equals 45 minutes. Okay, so if I go 60 miles at 80 miles an hour, it takes me 45 minutes to get there. All right, we took a bunch of room there. So let me break out the eraser. Get some room to work with. 2 down. I think we got 4 questions on this video. So the d equals distance equals rate times time, you will be seeing that for sure. Okay, so if what we did seemed really easy, great. If it seemed like, man, that was a lot of steps, you just got to get used to the steps, right? And just the main thing with math is take it slow, think it out. Most of the stuff, if you do that, you're in good shape. Okay, marker. Let's go ahead with blue this time. Okay. So on this question, it's going to say we're going 150 miles in 3 hours. $150 in 3 hours. How long is it going to take to get 700 miles? Okay. It's 150 miles in 3 hours. How long is it going to take to get 700? So again, we want to go back to our formula, right? Distance equals rate times time. Okay. So at first, like we see 150 miles in 3 hours. Okay, so there's time, there's distance, but we can actually turn that into rate, right? In that if I go 150 divided by that 3 right there, then 150 divided by 3 equals 50 miles per hour, yeah? Okay, so now I know what my rate is. Isn't that nice? Okay, so now I know my rate, and up here they gave us the distance, right? Because they said 700 was what they wanted to know, right? How long is it going to take us to go 700 miles? Equals our rate we just figured out, 50. And then their question was how long, so we know we don't know t. Okay, and from here, right, it's the same thing we just did in the problem before. Divide each side by 50 to get rid of that t can be by itself. Divide by 50, and $50 divided by 700 is 14, right? So in this case, we're done. We don't have to go and figure out anything like we did with that fraction. T equals 14 hours. Okay, and the last one, and you'll see this too. Looks like I forgot to erase everything. You'll see this one too, with being paid overtime. Okay, so on this question, this is number 4, last question, you make $12 an hour. Okay, I believe that's either is minimum wage or is pretty close to minimum wage. 12 an hour, and you worked 50 hours, and you get paid overtime once you go over 40 hours in a week. Okay, and overtime is time and a half. Okay, so that means 12, your regular base, times 1.5, and 12 times 1.5 is 18. Okay, so when you're getting paid the overtime hours, you're getting 18 an hour. The first 40 hours, you're getting paid 12 an hour. Then the question is, how much is this total? Okay, so all we're going to do is we've got our 12 an hour times 40, and that equals 480. And then we said the overtime hours was 12 times 1.5, and that was 18. Okay, and that's going to be for 10 total hours in the week, right? The first 40 were at the regular base rate. The final 10 hours are at the time and a half, which is 18. 18 times 10 is 180. Got some of this math from the problem before that I thought I erased, but I didn't. If you add these two up, we get 660. So that overtime question is a really, really common question. And so I would be prepared to answer that. It's pretty simple. You just figure out the normal work week is 40 hours. So you have your normal base rate for 40 hours, multiply those two together to get your number, just like we did right here, and then multiply out the overtime rate for the remaining hours, and then we get our total. So in this case, $660 for the week.